me to do my makeup, well, I discussed one of my favorite like physics, like what kind, yeah, like physics fun facts, I guess. So from learning physics, you understand that time is kind of like a human made thing, like how we keep track of time essentially. And so, but the way that time works with the universe is that it is just the universe expanding at a certain point. So the universe was made at a certain point and it started expanding, and that's a timeline of essentially when things were happening. That's like the best way I could explain it. So the reason why I would think that time travel is like practically impossible is because you would need to figure out how to pretty much like despan the universe to that certain point in the timeline. Like is like that's like the best way I could explain it. And so I mean it's not technically impossible, but would that take an incredible amount of like energy, probably like nuclear levels of energy. I have a hypothesis that it would honestly like blow up the universe, like kind of, because the amount of energy to reverse all of that, I just feel like it would mess with the laws of the universe and everything. Like I just because it's like you can't create energy out of nothing. So it's like genuinely, where would you get that from? And like what would that look like if you did go back in time and changed the course of events? I just really don't feel like it's possible. And I really feel like the way that time is in the universe and the way that you would need to go back in time and how much energy it would take, I feel like is done on purpose so that we don't have the ability to, because obviously the littlest thing could really just completely change the timeline. That, and also if you go back far enough, or like really, really far back, technically your microbiome, it's a little fun fact, that's also why we technically can't bring back like any kind of ancient animal or species, organism, anything like that, because we cannot replicate the microbiome that was around during that time period, like millions and millions and millions of different kinds of like microorganisms and bacteria and stuff that help keep you alive without you even knowing. So that on top of it is like, even if you were able to go back all the way, you might not even survive that long because your microbiome would be like, what the actual fuck is all of this shit? And same thing with the environment that you're interacting with at the moment. It would be like, what are you? And your immune system, your microbiome is gonna be like, oh my god, so many things, so many foreign things is happening all at once. Like I gotta attack it, and you probably wouldn't last long, honestly. Like you would probably get attacked in like 2.5 seconds because you're also probably super susceptible to certain bacterial infections and viruses and diseases and shit like that without you even knowing it, because your body's not properly vaccinated for shit that was around back then. So, and that's the thing is like bacteria is always constantly adapting and evolving. The bacteria and like all the bacteria that's around today is totally different than what's around like years ago, because it's always adapting and evolving. So even if you were able to get all of that energy and time travel, you probably wouldn't even survive long because of biology. That, and also the shit that you would probably introduce to that timeline. That's also why like a lot of countries are so big on you like declaring certain things, because they don't want you fucking around with their ecosystem. So you would probably introduce so many new bacterial infection, like bacteria and viruses and like so many nasty stuff into that timeline, because those things are equipped for your bacteria, you're not equipped for their bacteria. Like it's just like a whole like butterfly effect. So like time traveling shouldn't even be a thing, because you could mess with so much stuff. It's like it's not even funny. It's not even funny. But that's also again why we can't bring back like ancient animals, because things like dinosaurs and like the mammoth and stuff like that, because we can't recreate their microbiome. So even if we were able to manage to bring them back, they would die on the spot because their microbiome, because that certain organism that we would have to lab create has no microbiome at all, so it would just die on the spot. Because you need a microbiome to keep you alive. You need things on your skin to eat away at certain bacteria. It literally just keeps you alive. There's certain bacteria, microbiomes within you and in your gut and everything like that. And if we created an organism with no microbiome, it just would straight up die. I don't even think it would make it like to being alive, honestly. Like, so that's just the fact. So things like Jurassic Park wouldn't even be a reality there's like just no way. If I saw a real life dinosaur, I would be madly impressed, because I'd be like, and I would want to talk to the scientist on that, like, on that experiment, because I would be like, how the hell did you, what is this? Like, how did you do that? Because like, there's no way that, no, no. So that, and like Back to the Future, nah. So stuff like that, like I love science fiction and everything like that, but like, that's what it is, science fiction, because when you start to really understand, and that's just like basic physics, once you start to just understand like basic understanding of physics, you're like, oh, like a lot of things cannot happen. Like magic technically cannot happen too. You can't conjure anything, you can't conjure something out of nothing. But hypothetically, if you were able to redirect energy properly, then magic could exist. So